Let's take a quick trip back in time to understand the Washington quarter. It was first released in 1932 to celebrate George Washington's 200th birthday. The design, created by John Flanagan, shows Washington's profile, with an eagle on the reverse representing the strength of the U.S. When it first came out, the coin was made of 90% silver, pretty common back then. But in 1965, the mint switched things up to a copper-nickel blend. This shift led to some interesting minting errors, and those little mistakes. They've turned certain Washington quarters into major treasures worth a lot more than just 25 cents. So, which of these error coins are worth big bucks? Let's break it down, starting with one of the most exciting and valuable errors, the 1967 no mint mark quarter. Let me set the scene. In 1967, the U.S. Mint made an interesting mistake. Some quarters that year were struck without a mint mark at all, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just a blank space where the mint mark was supposed to be. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so a missing mint mark doesn't sound like the end of the world, right? But here's the thing, mint marks are super important because they tell us where the coin was struck. Usually, if a coin is made in Philadelphia, it won't have a mint mark, but if it's struck in Denver, it gets a D, and if it's made in San Francisco, it gets an S. So when a 1967 quarter has no mint mark, it's a rare occurrence. Now, why is this so significant? Well, when you think about it, the mint mark is a pretty big deal for collectors. It adds a layer of identity to the coin, helping people trace where and when it was made. So, when some 1967 Washington quarters came off the production line without mint marks, it raised a lot of eyebrows. But what really makes the 1967 no mint mark quarter even more valuable is its condition. If you happen to come across one that is graded as MS-68, which is nearly perfect, this coin can sell for a mind-blowing $10,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $10,000 for a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents. And remember, this isn't just any random 1967 quarter. It has to be in near-perfect condition for it to command such a high price. The better the condition, the higher the value. So, if you happen to find one of these in your change, get it checked out because you might just be holding a small fortune in your hands. It's hard to believe, but it's true, a coin that was only worth a quarter when it was first minted, and that may have circulated as pocket change, can now fetch 40, 50, or even 100 times its original value if it's in pristine condition. That's a serious payday for any collector lucky enough to stumble upon one. And it's not just about the money, it's also about the rarity of it. These error coins are like little time capsules, and the fact that they survived in such great condition makes them even more special. For collectors, finding a 1967 no mint mark Washington quarter is like hitting the jackpot. It's one of those rare treasures that make the world of coin collecting so thrilling and exciting. So, keep an eye out. You never know when you might find one of these valuable error coins tucked away in your pocket change. Next up, let's take a closer look at the 1970 Washington quarter, which has an interesting story behind it. In 1970, the U.S. Mint made another mistake, this time involving the quarters minted at the Denver Mint. Some of the quarters from that year were struck with weak or completely absent mint marks. The D for Denver was either poorly struck or entirely missing, which is unusual because mint marks are meant to be a clear indicator of where the coin was produced. This happened because of a problem in the minting process that left the mint mark either faint or entirely absent. At first glance, you might not think too much about it. After all, errors happen, right? But here's where things get interesting. The 1970 Washington quarter has become extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. Finding one of these with a weak or missing mint mark is a bit like finding a needle in a haystack, and it's precisely this rarity that drives its value up. Now, if you're lucky enough to find one of these 1970 quarters in MS-66 or MS-67 condition, you're not just holding on to a regular 25-cent coin. You could be sitting on a fortune. In fact, One of these rare quarters sold for a staggering $40,000 at auction in June of 2024. That's right, $40,000 for a coin that originally circulated as pocket change. It might sound unbelievable, but that's the power of rarity in condition in the world of coin collecting. What makes this coin even more exciting for collectors is that, while it's not the most common minting error out there, the 1970D Washington quarter has become one of the most coveted pieces in the coin collecting community. The fact that so few of these coins exist in good condition has turned them into a serious prize. And with auction prices like $40,000, it's clear that collectors are willing to pay big money to add one of these to their collection. If you happen to come across a 1970D Washington quarter, especially one that's in great condition, you might be holding on to something much more valuable than just a quarter. The potential to sell it for tens of thousands of dollars makes this coin a game changer for collectors. It's a perfect example of how a seemingly minor mistake in the minting process can result in a coin being worth far more than its face value. So, what does this mean for collectors? It means that even though you might not expect every coin you come across to be worth a small fortune, you should always take a closer look. The 1970D Washington quarter shows us just how much value can lie in the details. It also highlights the thrill of coin collecting, how a simple mistake can turn an ordinary quarter into a rare and valuable piece of history. If you ever find one, make sure to have it checked out. You could be holding on to a life-changing amount of money. And last, but definitely not least, we've got the 1969 no-mint mark Washington quarter. This one is a gem in the world of coin collecting. Much like the 1967 version we talked about earlier, the 1969 no-mint mark quarter lacks a mint mark, which makes it a highly sought-after era coin. While some of these quarters might be fairly common, there's a special subset that stands out. The key factor here is the condition. If you find one in MS 67+, which means nearly flawless, it could be worth a lot more than just a quarter. In fact, a 1969 no-mint mark quarter in MS 67+ condition recently sold for an incredible $15,000 at heritage auctions. Can you imagine that? A coin that was originally worth only 25 cents is now worth $15,000, all because of the rare minting error and the coin's outstanding condition. This just shows how much value certain error coins can hold over time. And the best part? The value of these coins only keeps going up as collectors continue to hunt for them. Every find is like striking gold, and the excitement around them is real. Now, you might be wondering, how can you spot these error coins and know if you've got a rare one in your hands? It's actually not as difficult as it sounds. Let me give you a few tips to help you on your coin hunting journey. First, missing or weak mint marks are a huge clue. As we've seen, mint marks help tell you where the coin was struck. So, take a close look at the back of the quarter, near the eagle. If the mint mark is weak or completely absent, there's a chance you've got an error coin on your hands. This is one of the easiest things to check for, and it could be a sign that you found something special. Next up are double strikes. These happen when a coin is struck more than once during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled. You'll notice this if you see doubled numbers or letters. Double dies are a sought-after error, and they can really boost a coin's value. It's not the most common mistake, but when you find one, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. Lastly, keep an eye out for off-center strikes. Sometimes, the die used to strike the coin gets misaligned, and this results in a coin with the design shifted to one side, almost like the image is off-center. These coins can be incredibly rare and valuable, especially if they're in great condition. So, if you come across a quarter that looks a little off, it could actually be a pretty big find. In the world of coin collecting, these little errors are what make the hunt so exciting. What seems like a simple mistake during the minting process could turn into a serious treasure for collectors. So, keep your eyes peeled for missing mint marks, double strikes, or off-center designs. You might just have a rare coin on your hands. To wrap it up, the 1969 no-mint mark quarter is a perfect example of how a small mistake can turn a regular coin into a highly valuable collectible. Whether it's a weak mint mark, a double strike, or an off-center design, error coins like these can fetch impressive amounts at auction. If you're out there hunting for coins, remember these tips and keep an eye out for those hidden gems. You never know when you'll find one that could be worth thousands. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive into Washington quarters with minting errors. Whether it's the 1967 no mint mark, the 1970 D mint mark, or the 1969 no mint mark, these rare errors have captured the attention of collectors and have become some of the most sought-after coins in the U.S. market. If you ever find one of these gems in your change, make sure to hold on to it tight, because you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more coin collecting tips, and drop any questions you have in the comments below. Have you found any rare Washington quarters? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.